This is my ninth budget cycle, and this budget is, I think, qualitatively and certainly quantitatively different from any of the other budgets that we've seen. The mayor's proposal, frankly, was a shocker in terms of dramatic cuts to health and human services while giving medium-sized increases to police and fire. And so I think that more so than the nickel and diming and the add-back process, this year was one where we needed to have a fundamental relook at the budget. In terms of the stuff that's been cut, it seems like it's all in my district, and all to people and services that I and many of my constituents really care about. So if I were to ask, when they ask me for an add-back list, I put everything on it. I think when you see a huge battle around the fire department, I think there are some fundamental basic questions about whether or not that department is bloated. Are we keeping an oversized department around, perhaps waiting on a big one? What's the worth of that? And so those are fundamental questions. With that said, we know the 3 or 4 mayor's pet projects, the Community Justice Center, the 311 call center, his climate change czar, his greening czar, 5 people in his press office. Your average San Franciscan that follows local politics a little bit probably can recite those things off. I've attempted in previous years to move some, including a parking tax, which would have largely been paid for by folks who drive into work in San Francisco from outside of the city. Eric J. and friends put a whole bunch of money together and smacked me around and beat that measure. So politically, they're doing great. He very well may be your next governor. How do you judge success? If you want to judge it by political advancement, I am not the model for success. And Gavin Newsom may be. So that's your American political system. Enjoy it. They've been incredibly effective. They don't apologize. They're brash. They go out there and they deliver for, their core base constituencies and fundraisers. And the cops and the firefighters were early supporters of Gavin Newsom in his reelection and for governor. And they've given handsomely to his political committees, and even if I hired his campaign consultant to run their campaign here, and so they've done very well doing that. With that said, it's Armageddon on the corridors and on the hallways of this building. The difficulty is when you fight for people's budget, you're taking on entrenched interests, and they attack you. So Supervisor Avalos has a sound truck going around his district saying, "Recall John Avalos." I'm the poster boy for what's wrong. With that said, I think that we are shy on progressive revenue streams. That downtown does not pay its fair share, but they're the political elephant. They throw their weight around, and they spend a lot of money in election cycles when we attempt to move progressive agenda, and it's effective. If it wasn't effective, they wouldn't spend millions of dollars. But it's effective. They hire, smart political consultants, pay them a lot of money, and spend a lot of money on mail and TV, and they're able to get outcomes which aren't good for the whole of San Francisco, but are good for them. Well, I have a charter amendment. It's the simplest of the charter amendments, but I think it's the one that actually would have the most impact, and that's to give the board the power to compel the administration to spend certain appropriations. I think what's been frustrating in previous years is doing all this work, taking all this public comment, sometimes hundreds of hours of public comment, and then acting on what you hear, making some select cuts, and then funding some areas of service, and then having the mayor just choose not to spend that money. That's the most frustrating thing. And if the board had the power to mandate that certain appropriations get spent, that would give us a lot more balance or equality within the budget process. So I'm hoping to have that out on the ballot in November and pass it.